Imagine if Men in Black had been about an all-out intergalactic war with Earth caught in the middle. That was the original plan. The movie could have looked completely different, with larger stakes and a far more complex plot. But as the film evolved, key changes shaped it into the iconic buddy cop sci-fi we love today. Let's explore how these early ideas could have transformed Men in Black into something entirely different. Let's start off with the original idea for Men in Black. What if the Men in Black had chased aliens across the entire United States instead of just New York City? Originally, that was the plan for this iconic film series. The films were supposed to show our secret agents handling extraterrestrial antics in various locations nationwide, adding a coast-to-coast adventure vibe to the alien-chasing action. But when director Barry Sonnenfeld joined the project, he had a different vision. He believed New York City, with its melting pot of cultures and crowded streets, would be the ideal hideout for aliens. He thought it might be the perfect backdrop, much like the gritty New York setting of The French Connection, but with a sci-fi twist involving aliens instead of drug smugglers. With the shift to New York City, some big changes followed for the characters too. Take Agent J, played by Will Smith. Originally, he was meant to be a Secret Service agent, but under the new direction, he turned into a regular New York cop. This tweak made him more relatable, like a beat cop who just happens to deal with aliens instead of regular crooks. Sticking to New York actually turned out to be a smart move. It let the movies focus more on the oddball partnership between the newbie J and the veteran Agent K, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Their mismatched buddy cop dynamic mixed with alien shenanigans really made the film stand out. Even though the main action was always in New York, we did get glimpses of the agency working across the country, like in the opening scene of the first movie in the American Southwest. It wasn't until Men in Black International that we saw how global the agency really is, with agents stationed all over the world. By zooming in on New York, the films kept things simple but effective, though it's interesting to think about what could have been. What if Men in Black had taken us on a road trip from the cornfields of the Midwest to the deserts of Nevada? The adventures could have been even more wild and wacky. Now that we know the original plans for Men in Black, it's interesting to think about how different the movie could have been. The first idea was to throw Earth into the middle of an intergalactic war between two races, the Baltians and the Arquillians. Imagine the Men in Black trying to manage a full-blown space war. Barry Sonnenfeld, the director, explained in an interview that the first script included a third alien race, Edgar's bug race, coming to Earth to steal a tiny galaxy. This galaxy was the key to keeping the war going between the Baltians and the Arquillians. The original story had Earth as a battleground for these alien forces, which would have dramatically changed the stakes for our protagonists. But after the first test screening, it became clear that the audience found the plot too complicated. According to visual effects expert Eric Brevig, who spoke with VFX Blog, the movie initially had many technical explanations and strategic alien positioning that were difficult for viewers to follow. The feedback led to significant changes in the storyline. During post-production, many scenes were simplified or cut entirely to make the narrative clearer and more focused on the characters. For instance, there was a specific scene in a diner involving two aliens speaking as ambassadors for their respective races. Originally, this conversation was in English, detailing their diplomatic roles. However, it was later dubbed over with an alien language to match the revised, simplified plot. Despite cutting back on the complex intergalactic war narrative, remnants of the original plot still appear in the film. The Arquillians and the Baltians are still part of the story, though their roles are much reduced. The Bugs, led by Vincent D'Onofrio's character, remain the main antagonists, focusing on the galaxy on Orion's belt, but without the broader war context. If those changes hadn't been made, Men in Black would have been a totally different movie. Imagine it packed with complex alien wars and political plots, much heavier and probably not as fun. The simple buddy cop vibe that we love today might not have existed at all. But it wasn't just the plot that could have been different. Agent J's role was completely different too. Will Smith's character, Agent J, was meant to be a Secret Service agent rather than a New York cop. This change would have given the movie a completely different vibe. Instead of the street-smart, wisecracking rookie we got, J would have been more polished, professional, and serious from the start. As a Secret Service agent, J would likely have been more by the book, sticking to protocols and procedures. This could have made his character less relatable and a bit more rigid, missing the charm and humor that Will Smith brought to the role. The version of Jay we know, a rookie thrown into the wild world of aliens and secret agents, connected with audiences because of his everyman qualities. He was learning things along with us, reacting in a way that made sense for someone new to the MIB world. If Jay had been a Secret Service agent, we probably wouldn't have seen the same kind of growth. His street-smart instincts and ability to think on his feet are what made his journey fun to watch. The change to a New York cop helped build the character arc, taking him from a regular guy chasing criminals to a full-fledged MIB agent. Without that, we might have missed the relatable, humorous side of Agent J that made him such an iconic part of the film. But when it comes to Men in Black 2, things took a different turn. If Men in Black 2 had stuck to what made the first movie so great, it could have turned out completely different. Think about it. Back in 1997, the original Men in Black gave us a cool Secret Service agency that felt serious and powerful. But in 2002, the sequel seemed to forget all of that. Instead of building on that mysterious vibe, they turned MIB headquarters into something that felt more like an airport with fast food joints. It lost that special, secretive feel. Now imagine if they had doubled down on the original concept. What if MIB headquarters had evolved into an even more high-tech secret command center? They could have shown how the organization had grown over the years, making it even cooler and more mysterious. It would have been a great way to build on what they already had, instead of watering it down. Then there's the issue with how they picked new agents. In the first movie, they were really strict about who could join. Remember how Agent J had to prove he could see past his own biases? But in the sequel, they bring in Agent T, who's rough with an alien in the opening scene. He doesn't seem like someone who would have passed the original tests. If they had kept that strict recruitment process, we could have seen how much being an MIB agent still mattered, instead of making it feel like anyone could just walk in and get the job. And remember how becoming an MIB agent used to mean wiping out your entire past? No more birth certificates, no more driver's license, nothing? The sequel totally backtracked on that. Agents can apparently just leave and go back to their old lives. This completely takes away the huge sacrifice that joining the MIB was supposed to represent. Imagine if they had kept that sense of commitment. It could have added more depth to the characters, making their choices more meaningful and showing how serious it was to join the organization. Agent J also feels totally different in the sequel. He's using the neuralizer to mess with people's lives, telling someone to get married or telling parents to let their kid eat all the candy he wants. That's a far cry from how careful he was with the neuralizer in the first movie. What if, instead of this reckless behavior, Jay had grown into a mentor figure? He could have been the one guiding new recruits, showing them how to handle the tech responsibly, and teaching them the ethics of the job. That would have been such a natural progression for his character. And then there's Agent K. Instead of undoing his happy ending from the first movie just to bring him back, they could have used him in a different way. Maybe K could have been a consultant, helping from the sidelines without erasing everything he worked for. It would have kept his story intact while still giving fans what they wanted. More of K without sacrificing his character development. Men in Black 2 could have been so much more if they had stayed true to the original. They had a chance to dig deeper into the world and the characters, making everything feel more meaningful and consistent. Instead, they played it safe by recycling old jokes and tropes. It's easy to imagine a version where the stakes felt real, the characters had grown, and the world of MIB had gotten even cooler. That would have been the perfect follow-up to the original movie. What do you think about The Woman in Black? Talking to BBC's Newsbeat, producer Laurie MacDonald revealed that the upcoming Men in Black reboot will introduce a prominent woman in black in the fourth film. This is a huge shift for the franchise, which has always centered around male agents. Introducing a female lead is exciting because it brings a new dynamic to the MIB world. But what if this had happened earlier in the series? If a woman had been featured in the earlier Men in Black films, it would have opened up all kinds of new storylines and character interactions. The partnership between J and K might have looked different with a female agent involved, and it could have led to interesting mentorships, rivalries, or even new types of teamwork. Character-wise, we would have seen how she dealt with the unique challenges of the job. The decision to leave her old life behind to join MIB, and how that affected her, could have brought more depth to the story. It could have also introduced new kinds of humor, action, and storytelling that spoke to a broader audience. MacDonald's announcement about the new female lead shows the franchise is evolving. And while Will Smith's return isn't confirmed yet, MacDonald's comment, "never count Will out," keeps the door open for his possible involvement. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to Tinseltown Unscripted for more content like this. And we'll see you in the next one.